we all have a message that we want to get out there, and again, it's a process of figuring out what problem are you trying to solve.
Welcome to the Swiss Made Success channel. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications for life-changing inspiration. And now, enjoy the interview. All right, welcome to the Swiss Made Success channel, the Stairway to Excellent podcast. In this episode, my guest is a fellow coach, a pastor at the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church in Kensington, Connecticut, a speaker, a family man, and a community leader. He's the co-host of the Two Bold Pastors podcast. With his coaching, he helps people find growth in their job, form deeper relationships, and experience a more meaningful life. He also helps organizations clarify their message, create a strong brand, great websites, and expand with the right marketing strategy. He is also a fellow musician, Joe McGarry.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast today.
My pleasure, Joe. Thanks for coming as a guest.
Yeah, this is great. And I went through and I started learning a little bit more about what you do and the podcast and everything. And I think this is, taking people's stories and putting it out there is just a great thing to do. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yes. It's really great. And I think there's some people to inspire, and, positivity is never too much.
I 100% agree.
Awesome. So for the people who don't know you, would you like to tell us a little about your background and how did you become a pastor and what led you maybe to coaching?
Sure. So I'll go way back. I hate to say that now because it shows my age, but more than 20 years ago, I was in college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I felt lost and alone and probably depressed at the time, looking back. And I decided to drop out of college and I started working at this camp. This camp is a camp I went to growing up as a kid. It's a Bible camp, and I hosted church groups throughout the New England area here in the United States. And I just found that I love connecting with people. I loved hearing people's stories. I love telling my own story and helping people just connect with God and connect with nature and that sort of thing. And that led me to really want to become a pastor in a church. I worked with a lot of pastors and heard their stories, and they encouraged me to go to seminary and to learn more about teaching the Bible and running a church and everything that goes in it. And so the last 12 to 15 years, I've been doing that full time, doing ministry work full time. And 2018, I went to a conference called Free the Dream. And during that weekend, I learned a lot about myself and freeing that dream that continues to live inside of me. I love being a pastor in the church work that I do, but I felt that God was really calling me to something bigger. And that has really led me to coaching. I've taken the skills that I have loved as a pastor for the last 15 years, and I'm utilizing those skills of just listening, asking deep questions, really responding to the person and hearing, not only listening what they have to say, but really hearing what they have to say and helping them find really their true calling, as I talk about, and discover that they can grow and be the person that they are called to be. So I have spent the last year and a half to 2 years learning how to be a coach, coaching people, and now I'm close to finishing my certification as a professional coach through the International Coach Federation. So hopefully by the end of 2021, I will be have that certification in hand and continue on my journey.
That's really fascinating story. And yeah, I can confirm that when I found coaching, I was like, enlightened. How can I say
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It has really changed my life, and not only but through my vocation, through the work that I do, but how I interact with people. I have a 17-year-old son, and he's trying to find himself and figure out what he wants to do with his life. And I'm not the dad now that will go in and say, this is what I think you need to do, son, and you need to wake up, and it's really just sitting with him and asking him questions, and open-ended questions for him to think about what is he going to be doing with his life, and how is he going to live his best life. And I think that has really helped the both of us in our relationship too.
So let's go straight into it. One of the things that you help people with is it like how can they discover their unique gifts?
We all are blessed with certain gifts, and sometimes it's easy to find and sometimes it's harder to find. But when you work with a coach, and you know this, when you work with a coach, you have the ability to spend time thinking about yourself, as a people pleaser, as someone who loves working with other people. I always spend time thinking about, oh, how can I help this person? How can I help this person? As a parent, as a professional, as a coach, as a pastor, I'm always thinking about other people. But when I sit down with my coach, I'm really thinking about what can I be doing to grow in the things that I love doing, the things that I'm good at. And someone might be sitting out there thinking, well, I'm not good at anything. I believe that you are good at something. I believe there is something inside of you that can come out, and it really takes time to really think about that and to figure out what that is.
Mhm. So if I got it right, like what are the things that we have is or we can have is believe in ourselves.
Yes, believe in yourself is a definitely big thing. And I go back to my father. He was a personnel director for a firm for 25 years, 25 of his professional years. It wasn't until after he retired that he found his passion for cooking. And so he spent at the camp that I worked at, he spent 10 summers working at that camp as a cook. He cooked monthly for this survivor house within our community. He cooked for all the church dinners. He worked at different restaurants. He owned a hot dog wagon. He loved cooking. He loved being around people and doing that. And he, spent most of his career not doing that. But once he found that passion, that it just something clicked for him, and he was able to live that out fully, and really be happy as he was doing that.
Hmm. So yeah, as one of the seed is like believing in ourselves that we can find that on our own gift and unique message, unique.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So also one of the things that you coach is the relationships. How can we improve our relationships? Let's say couple relationships, for example.
Yeah, it's really I don't remember where I first heard this, but it's, do you want to be right or do you want to be in relationship? Right? My wife and I talk about this, not about this in particular, but we talk about how we interact with one another. And there are certain things that I just want to be right on. I want things done a certain way. I want, things to happen a certain way. I want us to do things a certain way. And I could really fight and be right about that. Or I can be in relationship with my wife and say, you know what, I do like things a certain way, but I love you more. And, let's figure this out and make a compromise. And sometimes it really, it, we can really get stuck and in a rut in our relationships, not only in marital relationships or, but also friends, family. We can really just kind of get stuck and do things the way we always do. Our relationships get stagnant, but we can find things and find ways to reimagine and reinvent those relationships so they can continue to be healthy and continue to grow and continue to flourish. Because, it, you know, more than anything else, having good, solid relationships is important. And really, we can think that we may never find that. If you are out there listening to this and you might not be in a relationship, you know, one of the things that a coach can do is to really help you figure out why is that, and not going back into your history and, oh, when I was a kid, blah, 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 that sort of thing. But what are the things that are happening now that I'm allowing myself to get in a way of myself to be in that relationship? Why am I continuing to fight with my spouse and really not grow in our relationship? And I believe a coach can really help you figure those things out, because we all have the answers within inside of ourselves. We just need someone to help bring that to the surface.
Mm-hmm. So a coach is just a kind of guide that is there for you, that sustains you, but you do the job, right? In the coaching.
Yeah. The coach doesn't have the answers. And that's one of the things that I really had to get over is when I first started coaching, because I've always been in my profession as a pastor. People look to me for answers. Why is God doing this, or what is happening, or why is this happening, and why can't God fix it? And I, what does the Bible say about this? And I've spent my most of my life right now studying the Bible, and what does it say? What is God saying, and how to interpret that? But as a coach, I am not the one with the answers. I cannot tell you your story. Only you can tell you your story. And what I do is sit and I listen to that story, and I ask different questions to help you really get deep down inside. Some of the coaches that I work with right now, we have a group that meets on a regular basis, and they make fun of me because I ask the question, what else? Someone may be giving me an answer, so if I ask the question, how does that really kind of tie into what you're experiencing right now? And they give me an answer, and then I ask, what else? And I keep asking that until they say, I don't know, I think that's it. I say, okay, let's move on. But that really helps just get deeper into our head and continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper and really think about our answer. And I would say probably 9 times out of 10, they have some sort of realization, some sort of insight after asking that a number of times.
And that's an amazing feeling when you see the person realizing something so deep, right?
Oh yeah, that is totally an amazing feeling to know that they have this new insight that's really going to change their life.
Exactly. So in the relationship, if I got it right, one of the important things is also to know how to negotiate, how to find a compromise together to reach the goal, and also be interested. If I got it right, you said like be interested in how to improve the relationship, because somebody's not aware that what they're doing, right?
Yeah. To really negotiate is a good word, and that doesn't always mean someone is going to win and someone's going to lose. Negotiation also can mean compromise. It can mean, figuring out how both parties can win as they discuss certain things. So, definitely ways that can happen on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. In the small conversation before we start recording, you started talking about your experience now with your kids, with your son. So one of the questions would be, how do we coach our kids at best?
Yeah, again, it's not, it's a kind of mindset shift in thinking, I am not going to tell my kids what to do. I'm going to enable them to figure that out for themselves by listening to them, by asking them questions, by encouraging them. So, my son is currently trying to figure out, what is he going to do with his life? Is he going to go to college? Is he going to start a job? Is he going to be an entrepreneur and start his own company? What are the things that he is going to do, and how is he going to accomplish them? And I could sit there and say, no, this is what you're going to do, son. Once you graduate high school, then you have to go to college and figure out what you're going to do, get a good degree, and blah 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 blah, go on. But instead of doing that, I'm just sitting here and asking him questions like, what do you think you want to do? How are you going to do that? What is your future going to look like? 5 years from now, where do you want to be in your life, and how are you going to get there? And not in a judgmental way, but just really asking him questions, enabling him to think and to dream about that. Same thing with my daughter. She's 14, but finding out what her passion and her interests are, and helping her discover those and apply those into her life. Again, I could sit there and say, the best way that you can do that is doing X, Y, and Z. And she might not want to do it that way. She might not think that it's in her best interest. So it's not allowing them to do whatever they want, however they want, still be a parent, still guidelines, but really allowing them imagining for themselves on how they are going to accomplish their dreams and their goals, and not sit there and say, you have to do things a certain way, and I'm the expert on it. They are the expert on themselves, and I am there to guide them. Yes, I'm there to maybe push them a little bit if they need pushing. Yes, but more than that, I am there to enable them to dream for themselves.
And this is going to be treasure for me, because I have a 7-month-old son, so I'm going to surely apply this stuff.
Yeah.
And with what I see, this like the other person, when we have this kind of attitude, feels free. So it creates a more authentic connection with this person, and a sincere relationship.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it forces us, and I say force lightly, because I don't think it should be a forceful thing, but it forces us to really get to know our kids and really understand them. When I was an intern, when my son, like I said, he's 17 now, he was 2 or 3 years old. When I was an intern, I spent so much time working, and that whenever my son and my wife and my daughter at the time, she was just born, went to the church, my son called it Daddy's house. We're going to see Daddy at Daddy's house. That's how much I was working. He thought I lived there. He thought that's where that was a real wake up call for me, and saying, I don't want my son to think that I am not around, that I live somewhere else than where he lives. I want to be conscious about that and not be a workaholic, because that's my innate nature, is to be a workaholic and to work all the time. But I want to be there for my kids, and now to really understand who they are and the people that they're growing to be, I really need to spend time with them in conversation. And I love my kids when they were small, but I also love them now as teenagers, because we can have real conversations about real things, about real issues happening in the world, and we can really continue to grow and closer to one another through those connections and relationships.
Great. So this podcast is called The Stairway to Excellence. How would you describe the Stairway to Excellence?
I would describe the Stairway to Excellence by taking one step at a time. So many times in our life, we find ourselves wanting to get to the finish line as fast as possible. And what I have learned from coaching is that you can't get there as fast as possible. I think that you can get there taking one step at a time, and continuing to build off of that one step. If we just start running and not looking, that staircase may end and we can fall on our face, but making sure that everything is in place, and that with the help of others, we can achieve anything that we really set out to achieve. One of the things that I have learned throughout my life is that I can only do what I believe is possible. If I don't believe that it's possible, then I'm never going to be able to accomplish it. And each stairway may look different, right? My stairway is not going to be the same as yours. Is not going to be the same as somebody else that's out here. Mine may be, kind of short steps and really long, and yours may be kind of swirly and up, and someone may be going up and someone may be going down and someone may be going up and down. We can't compare our journey to somebody else's, because each journey is individualistic.
Every journey is unique. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's got a mobile staircase, right?
Right. An escalator, right? I want that one.
Somebody was just born lucky or somehow. That I think everybody's got their own challenge. Either they were born like, let's say, in a great country, let's say in a poor country. Everybody's got their own challenge, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We all have our challenges. We also have all, different perspectives, and different ways that we go about doing things, which makes us well great, being able to experience what other people are experiencing in different ways. So.
All right. So many people start to change. Somebody wants to stop smoking. Somebody wants to have a good relationship, as you were saying before, but they cannot get themselves to change. What do you think can create lasting change in a person?
One of the best ways, and this is something that I have really kind of taken on personally in the last recent couple of months, is really envisioning what does that change look like, and not just saying this is maybe what it looks like, but really starting to embrace that. And I was in a coaching session myself with my coach, and I came to this realization, and it totally has drastically changed the way I go about things. So one of the things for years that I have wanted to go on is a health journey. I want to be healthier. One of my dreams is to participate in a triathlon, and I don't know why that is. That has always been in one of my dreams, and it seems kind of weird because I hate running. I like bicycling and I like swimming, but I hate running. And it was a couple of months ago when I was talking with my coach, and I said, I just need, in order to get healthy and in order to go out running and to eat better and all this other stuff, I just need someone to keep me accountable. And they said, well, who can keep you accountable? And so I said, well, and I named a couple of people, and I really started to think about it. And then I had this realization, because again, they were asking that question, who else? And then I said, wait a minute, I could keep myself accountable. And I don't know why it just hit me a different way. And I started to envision, not only is Joe going to keep, but Coach Joe. When I start to embrace this idea as a coach, I said, I can keep myself accountable as Coach Joe. And trust me, I know this sounds weird, but get up in the morning and I don't feel like going to the gym. Well, would Coach Joe not go to the gym? No, he would go to the gym because he wants to be healthy inside and out. And he's going to want to do all these certain things. So that has really made a difference in my life, and really envisioning 1 year from now, if Coach Joe takes over my life and he lives my life the way that I want to live my life, where am I going to be? What are the things that am I going to accomplish? How am I going to get there? And answering all these questions, and really has helped. And so if someone is looking to make lasting change, it's really saying, okay, 1 year from now, what is this going to look like? How am I going to live into this? And then I think that change will happen.
That's I totally agree because you got to have this clear vision of who you want to be or what you want to accomplish to create a lasting change. That's somehow is got to be like in the inner identity.
Yes.
Right. It's got to be like a tattoo in your mind.
Yes.
Which you think about it all the time, and that is like pulls you towards it, right?
Yeah. Once you start embracing it, it's going to happen more naturally than you really think. And once you start living into that, and so maybe, whatever that persona is for you, whatever, you want to do, or the person that you want to become is is really start to envision what does that look like, and it'll start to happen. The other thing is also finding out how does that relate to your passion. Like I said, I want to participate in a triathlon, and I will let you know when that happens. But it is, running is not my passion, but I love bicycling. I love swimming. So, I ride my bike almost every single day, when I can. And it is just, it's such a fun thing for me to do. And if I say that, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run, that'll never happen because I don't like running. But bicycling, I love it, and I can't get enough of it. So finding out what your passion is, and then finally it's really finding that why. Why is it important? Going back to my family, why is it important for me to be healthy? Well, I want to be there for my kids, and eventually maybe if they choose to have kids, my grandkids, I want to be there for them. And if I don't turn that around, and if I don't get healthy and stay healthy, then I'm not going to be there for them. So that's part of my why is I want to be around for them and my wife and everything. So, so really living into that is really important.
So it sounds like one of the things of lasting change is also taking responsibility somehow, like some kind of weight, and remembering ourselves that we also are an example for who's watching us, especially our kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. One of the things that you talk about is discovering our own message. How would you describe that?
Yeah. So discovering our message. So we all have a message that we want to get out there. And again, it's a process of figuring out what problem are you trying to solve. So when you think about, if you're a coach, what problems are you trying to solve when someone comes to you? It may be some sort of internal problem that they are struggling with. It may be some sort of external problem that they are struggling with, or it may be a philosophical problem on what they are struggling with. Also, what kind of empathy are you showing other people? How are you showing them that you understand their problem? And then who gives you, or what authority do you have in order to help that person solve that problem? So having those, starting to have those questions really kind of helps you narrow down what your message is that you want to get out into the world. And one of the things that I like to do is to help people figure out that message. If you're saying, well, I love coaching, but I don't know what my niche is, and I can't figure it out. Well, I sit down with people and I help them figure out what their niche is, and I help them figure that out so then they can be successful in creating their own coaching business. Or it may not even be a coaching business. It's any type of thing that you want to get into. What are you passionate about, and how are you going to express that to somebody else? Some people call it an elevator pitch. When you're on an elevator and you only have a few seconds, and someone says, "What do you do?" and you only have a few seconds to tell you what you do. Well, having something like that ready, so when you get into a situation, you're meeting someone for the first time and they say, "Well, what do you do?" And you can, instead of fumbling around, well, I like to help people, and I like to go around and talk to people, and instead of fumbling around, you could say, well, I help people figure out their message so they can best explain what they do, why they love it, and how they help other people. Just something simple like that. And then that person be like, oh, I want to learn more about that. I want to hear more about that. And that's when you hand them your business card and say, give me a call.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that people lack is the clarity, right? Which
yes,
sounds like you help them in this process of finding clarity in their mind, in their heart, what they are about.
Yeah. Clarity is so important. And also when you design, say, your website, your website needs to pass what I call the grunt test. Think of a caveman. When they go to your website and they look at it, when a caveman grunts, ugh, they need to understand what you do and how you are going to help them. Because we live in a culture now where if they can't understand, if they are confused, they are going to go somewhere else and find someone else to work with because they don't understand who you are and what you are trying to accomplish. So when they go to your website, they need to know that right away. And also they need to know how are they going to contact you. Have worked with coaches and trying to figure out, their niche and their website. And when I go to their website, it's so hard for me to figure out on some people's websites how to contact them. How, we want, what I hear from other coaches, I want to get new clients and I want to get the right client. Well, how are they going to contact you? Well, they go to my website. Okay, well, let's pull up your website. Where does it say that they're going to contact you? Well, you have to go to this page and under this tab, and you got to push this button, but it only works on Tuesdays and Fridays. Well, they're never going to be able to contact you if they don't know how. It's got to be right there. It's got to be all over the place, and you'll find more clients that way.
Mm-hmm. So simple and clear and really upfront, like
yes,
be really clear, exactly as the elevator pitch you were talking before.
Yeah.
As you're describing the people that how can they find the message, it came to mind like when they prepare this elevator pitch, the phrase better be prepared and not have an occasion than have an occasion not be prepared.
Yep.
So
that's really true. That's a good way to put it.
Great. So if you think about yourself, what inspires you to stay motivated and positive?
Yeah, right now, like I said, the last couple of months, it is that idea of Coach Joe and what is Coach Joe going to, that has really fired me up and really kind of changed the way that I am going about the way that I'm doing things. Here in Connecticut right now, it's let me see, it is 37 degrees outside, which is a lot better than a couple of days ago where it was, 15 degrees. So the weather is getting warmer here, and that is really keeping me energized and excited. And I have a bunch of new clients that I'm working with. So it is great to be able to serve people, and I get so much out of the conversations that I have. I get so much out of watching people, accomplish things that they never thought they would be able to. I was just telling you before we started too, I just got my first vaccination. My wife just got her first vaccination, and in a month we're both going to have our second ones. And that's going to open the doors for us, still to stay cautious and that sort of thing. But that's one step closer to really seeing people again and really kind of living our best life with our friends. And we're excited about that.
Sounds great. Joe, one of the things that you talk about is about leading with confidence. How would you explain that?
Yeah, that's always been a tough one, which is why I want to focus on it. Right. One of the best ways that when I envision the people that I work with, I envision kind of similar to the way that I used to see life. I used to see life where I did not have confidence in myself or my abilities. And I saw my life as I let life happen to me rather than going after life and living it. I let other people kind of dictate how I was going to feel, what I was feeling, what I was doing. And then, I started to have this vision of a better life where I was confident, where I dictated how I was going to live my life. And I saw how happy I would become if that was the case. So living your life with confidence is having this internal thought of, I am going to do things that make me happy. I am going to do things that I want to be doing because they make me happy, because I feel this is what I'm being called to do. A number of years ago, this was a long time ago, I was in a band. So here in the video, you see behind me, I have a couple of guitars, and I played guitar in this band. And what our drummer in the band was a trash man. Now, he didn't really like his job, but it paid well and he did it. Um, and but he also found his joy, his passion. He found his confidence in what we were doing with the band. We were recording a CD. He was singing. He was playing. You know, and eventually he left that job and started to pursue other things that really he wanted to do. And the only way that I think he was able to leave that job was because of the confidence that he gained in some of the passions that he was living out. You know, if he just went to that job and went home and watched TV and had a drink and, you know, ate dinner and went to bed and got up and went to work again, you know, he not having that passion, not having that ability to figure out what that is in his life, he wouldn't have been able to move on to something else that he really, really enjoyed. So you know, when I talk about confidence, it is primarily a feeling of control, of kind of having authority over your own life. But also it enables you to take action that you might not otherwise take.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful story of your friend. And yeah, that makes me think that many people find that way through a passion. They find somehow their own identity, or who they feel a little under control. Exactly as you put it.
Yeah. So much of our life, we can feel like we're out of control, that we're just reacting instead of taking control and being proactive. So it's really kind of figuring out what that is and how are we going to be proactive in our life instead of reactive. And there's times, even since I have figured, you know, some of this stuff out, and I feel like I have more confidence now than I have in a very long time, I still have those bouts and those times in my life where I don't have the confidence, right? It's not being confident 100% of the time, but it's having more confidence than not in my life at this point. So when something comes in my way and surprises me, or something unexpected happens, instead of totally changing my life and making me freak out and have anxiety, I feel okay about it, and I just kind of deal with it and move on. And I think that's part of having confidence as well, is really not letting those little things really completely disrupt your life.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like a seed that we grow. It's like a tree that we allow to grow, right? Like gradually.
Yes.
It's not like it's now I'm confident, it's done.
Right. No, it comes over time. And just like a tree, it sometimes needs pruning. It needs, you know, it needs all the right elements in order for it to be healthy. Sometimes, you know, we may get too much sun, or, you know, not enough water, and we feel a little bad about it. But when we start to equalize that out again, then it becomes so much better.
Amazing. What do you do for fun?
Yeah. So right now, there's a couple of things that I do for fun. One is, as I said, music has always been something that's there. I initially went to college actually to be a music major, a tuba player. And, you know, I absolutely love music right now. I mainly play guitar and bass guitar and ukulele. So that's what I play mainly, but I still have my tuba over there, and every once in a while I'll break that out and start playing it. Music is a big thing. I relax, but with movies. My wife and I are a movie buff. We, you know, when the theaters are open and things are safe, we would go to the movies once a week, just to kind of be together, experience a story that really encapsulates us and entertains us. That is a favorite of ours. Hanging out with my family. You know, I love my family. Like I said earlier, you know, I loved when my kids were younger. I have a picture right up here on my wall of them when they were younger, being nice to each other. And I think my son was 6, my daughter was 3. In this picture here I have, now they're 17 and 14, and just watching them grow and becoming their own people and hearing, kind of what they're experiencing in their life, and being there for them. I love spending time with my family and my wife. We try to do things as a family a couple times a month. They're busy with their activities, but we try to make time for that as a family. And the other thing is just spending time with my friends. Right now that looks a lot like Zoom. We kind of get together on Zoom every once in a while, and I meet with my colleagues on Zoom. But when things are kind of settled down, and more and more people get vaccinated, and restrictions are lifted and that sort of thing, I just am so looking forward to getting together with my friends again, and having that time, and kind of making up for the not seeing each other as much this past year.
Very nice. Very nice. Joe, do you have like some kind of favorite books? What would be your favorite three books that you would advise? If you
Wow,
read
three books. My first one would be the Bible, and maybe that's not surprising to some people. I am currently reading through the entire Bible again from front to back. I'm actually taking notes on each chapter of the Bible, and I'm going to be creating a podcast over the summer, helping people read through the entire Bible in 90 days with some commentary. So that'll be out on my website once that project is done. Hopefully, I'm looking to launch that this fall. So I'm currently reading through the Bible every day, taking notes to be able to do that. One of my favorite all-time books, and has become a favorite movie as well, is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I remember reading that when I was a teenager, just so engrossed in that book. I love Stephen King and a lot of his novels. But that one was kind of the first one that I really kind of fell in love with in his writing. And since then, I really, really enjoy the movies as well. And the other one that I probably would say is trying to decide, because there's so many that I like. One, I'm trying to decide between two. So I'm going to say one of them, and then maybe the other one, if you allow me to have four. One is called The Prosperous Coach by Steve Chandler and Rich Litvin. I really enjoy that book, and it really has helped me think about really embodying myself as a coach, and seeing opportunities to coach, in any situation that I am. Not that I coach everyone, but just really how I interact with other people.
All right, now the bonus book.
Yeah, the bonus book. So, this idea of finding our message and clarifying our message is in the book Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. That has really helped me think about my own story and helping other people with their own stories. So this fall, I because of that book, became a certified story brand guide, and helping people clarify their message, and building the websites with clarity, and that sort of thing. So that would be my bonus book.
Awesome. So you're bringing us towards my next question, which would be, how can people find about you? Where can they find you, Joe?
Yeah, so I am Coach Joe MC on most of the social medias. The other thing, my website is coachjoe.io. And what I did for your audience is I created a special PDF called 6 Ways to Live Life with Purpose. So it gives you 6 different ways to live your life with purpose. And if people go to coachjoe.io/SMS, they can download that for free off of my website. It's a PDF that people can download, and see, what are the 6 ways. Finding your purpose in your life can really just turn everything around. It can make a meaningful impact on your life, and it helps things be a little easier when life is tough. So definitely they can go to that my website, and download that free PDF.
Well, I will put every link that you said, and it's a privilege for our listeners to go on your website and get it for free, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So everybody who's watching and listening, follow coachjoe.io, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, last questions. What would be your advice to your 20-year-old self?
I would tell my 20-year-old self to experience as much as you can right now. You know, I was in a place back then where I did not have as much confidence in myself, in my abilities, and there was a lot of stuff that I missed out on, I think, because I didn't want to take that chance, and I didn't want to kind of mess up what I already have. When I look back now, there was very little that I could mess up, and so I would tell them to experience as much as you can right now, and just kind of embrace the world as much as you can.
Sounds great. Last question is, Joe, did you have a good time in the interview?
I did. This has been great talking with you and sharing about this. And I just absolutely love sharing the message that I have. I love talking about this, and I hope that your audience has been, somewhat entertained, but also maybe a little bit inspired to start their own journey and to find ways that they can do that.
I'm sure they got an immense inspiration from you, and thanks very much for sharing all your experience, your knowledge, and your own inspiration with us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thanks one more time. I'll see you at the next episode.